My name is Charlie Moore. I'm a district chief with Attleboro Fire Department. I've been in the service for about 23 years, and through the years I was a captain here in 2010, and in 2021 I got promoted to district chief. The impression we got for customer service was very local and customer based, so that was a big relief to the department. The user interface, when you first look at StationSMARTS, it was very intuitive. You want to click maintenance, there's a button for it. You have to go searching through the system. You want a button on hydrants, it's right there. The property record alone was probably the biggest selling point of the system, because everything is related to that specific property. And for us, that saved tons of time to search for a property's record in a file cabinet, when I could essentially type in that address and everything we've done for that property shows up there. Runs, inspections, anything we've done for that property is right there that you could search for in 2 minutes. That was a big selling point. The maintenance part of it was for reporting purposes to the city was great for us, because now all the maintenance that we do on our trucks can now be tracked, and we know the value, who did it, so, and the hours that the truck was out of service. That's key. So within the year, when the city's looking to replace trucks, we can justify why there's a need for it. If we have an engine out that's been out of service for 300 hours this year and we spent $40,000 on it, why do we want to replace it? Well, here's a great example why. And before, it would take hours to mine that data out of paper to come up with something. My initial goals for StationSMARTS were to speed up and make our process of fire reporting efficient, and it did that. To cover station maintenance, equipment inventory or inventory control, it did those. Records management for properties, it did those. So those are major things that we did in a matter of 2 months, and that was essentially just we had to do the legwork of getting the information into the system, and they were very helpful in showing us how to do that or helping us to do that. And once it's in there, and now we can open up the other portions of StationSMARTS, like the pre-plan, the fire prevention wise, we use the 26F forms daily. We do the quarterly and commercial inspection forms that are on there every quarter. And once the iPads are on the vehicles, this process for like pre-planning or other like quarterlies or commercial inspections will be just not so much in my office, but broadcasted out to the department. So we're all a part of StationSMARTS, how to use it, instead of 2 or 3 people. And that's the whole goal, is to have everybody be able to use the system. And so that was another goal. And instead of 1 or 2 people being in charge of the system and administering the system, now everybody has a stake in how the system functions. And that's key for the fire department. Everybody wants ownership, because then they do a better job. Working with the staff at StationSMARTS has exceeded my expectations. Heather and Greg have been great. If I send an email out for a question I might have, they respond to me within minutes. And usually Heather will send out a video on how to fix my mistake. And that makes it easier versus trying to describe something in email. They will either call you and walk you through on your screen, or send you a video of your screen of StationSMARTS in your department telling you how to fix it. And I like learning how to fix it versus somebody just fix it for me, because then I don't have to, I can put that behind me and move on to something else, and I know how to fix that task. If it happens again, I can correct it. So that's the best part about this company. I think probably the biggest would be the property module. Just having all the records of what happens at that particular property. And the past 10 years of data of all the inference runs have been correlated all to a specific property based on that call. So when I look up a call, 10 Park Street, it shows me I've been there 36 times over the past 10 years and what the different issues were. So for fire prevention wise, if it's a hoarding issue and you've been to this house the past 4 times in the last year, now you have that data to show the landlord or the tenant why we've been there, what the corrective action should be, and if they're not compliant, you can move forward. And you have that data at a moment's notice. So that's probably been the biggest overall impact. The second biggest impact would be the maintenance. Before, we had no real way of reporting maintenance other than by paper, and there was no accountability. So things didn't get fixed, problems dropped through the cracks until it became a huge problem. And now let's say the apparatus is out of service for 2 or 3 weeks when it could have just been out of service for a day if the problem had been fixed initially. So now the maintenance request has changed the way we handle maintenance or apparatus. I mean, we spend $600,000 for these trucks. We should take care of them. And now we have that mechanism to allow that repair or that maintenance to be done. So that's made a huge impact. We issue permits daily, and we had a manual Excel spreadsheet on what we had out for permits, and the permit numbers were just sequential. So we didn't know what permit 10 was, what that permit 4, unless you looked at it, or what permit 24 was. So now with StationSMARTS, we go into the property, which is now it's addressable to that specific property record, and the permit has, say, FA for fire alarm. So it's a fire alarm permit 10. So at the end of the year, he only has 40 permits for fire alarm. We know what his division does. I guess the biggest thing is we know what the permits are going to go for. We can search them by address. We can also search by how many burning permits that we issue, and then now we know the properties that have the burning permits. The burning permits is a key feature for us because we can blast notify everybody with a burning permit, because all their contact information is in there, if we have to stop burning today due to wind or dry. I can change it where you can't even issue a permit to this property if we've rescinded their burn permit, or we can't issue permits today based on the state. That makes the control or overall use of permits, how to use permits, efficient. I would say if you're considering changing your fire reporting software, I would strongly suggest you go with StationSMARTS just on the ease of use, the compliance you get from your staff and from your department. The infra's reporting is second to none. The property record is huge, and the maintenance is, I think, going to make a huge shift in the way you calculate what you spend for maintenance for the year and what trucks are really out of service and for how long. Because in the fire service, we typically go on hearsay, and we assume that, oh, this truck's been out for 3 months and it's been out for 3 days, and you can back this up by facts. Or it's only cost us 10 grand, but it really costs you 50,000 to fix this truck for the year. So it eliminates those gaps in information, and you have accountability for it. That's the biggest thing, is you can have accountability and run compliance as far as putting runs in, pre-plans, quarterly inspections, 26 Fs. You have it all there, you know who did it, and it's easy to use and it's easy to train. And the ease of rollout is probably the biggest thing that firefighters have to get over. If it's hard to use from the start, or if they perceive it hard to use, you're never going to get compliance to use it because they already write it off. So if it rolls out and it's easy and they like it and it looks good on the screen, you get more interest, and they build buzz around that interest, and they find that it works, and you get more buy-in, and then the whole department's using it, and collectively it's an easy system, and everybody kind of maintains it themselves. That's what I find, and that's what I would suggest somebody to go and get. I really would.